Good management is the result of good governance. That means roles and responsibilities are clearly defined, and the organisation is kept on track by checks and balances, and its resources are properly used.
I think one of the pillars of any good sort of governance, if you like, or a good board and how it operates is absolutely acknowledging that it is a team and that everyone has a role. So you might be a committee or board member in a general sense, and understanding that you have duties, and often there will even be a policy or a statement about what that role is. And it's things like making sure you've read your papers before, that you come prepared to make decisions, that you treat everybody else with respect, and it is about being open and honest and transparent, that you're able to ask questions, and if you don't feel comfortable making decisions, that you can say that and say, can we get some more information and maybe discuss this next time or out of session. Actively listening, respecting viewpoints. The other thing is that sometimes you agree to disagree. And one of the things that we talk about when we teach in any governance training is when you walk out of the room, you speak with one voice. So just because I might have sat there going, I don't agree with this, as long as I get heard in the meeting, if the decision is we're going to do A, B and C, then when we walk out of the room, we all say we're going to do A, B and C, even if I didn't want to. And that can be hard because that takes a sort of degree of trust in all of your fellow committee and board members.
The board provides leadership, sets the strategic direction and monitors its progress. It supports the staff and volunteers and gives the manager their authority. The manager looks after the everyday operations of the House, implements the strategic direction which the board has set, and organises programs as well as leading the staff and volunteers.
Risk management is something that's shared between both. And really just they're the legal entity. The people that sit around the table actually form the committee, which is the legal entity, which is the entity that attracts grants and monies and donations. They employ a manager to implement all of the things that they've decided they'd like to do and to be, if you like, the liaison between the community and the committee. So sometimes those roles cross in terms of, what's called stakeholder engagement, so going and chatting to people or talking with politicians or doing some advocacy. But really it's the board's role is to set the direction, and it's the manager's role to do it.
It's quite common to see confusion about what the board's role is and what the manager is. Sometimes board members who are passionate volunteers, or they might have particular expertise from their working life that they bring to the board table, which is fantastic. But because of that, they want to be hands-on, but that's and pretty much do the manager's job for them, and that, or even another staff member's job for them, and that's not the board role. When you're part of a board, it's very important that the board as a whole operates with a sense of trust, and that's because a board makes decisions together. There's no individual around a board table that makes a decision, it's the collective decision. And when you're around a board table, you're looking at the organisation, looking at the purpose and the future of the organisation, often dealing with some difficult choices about funding or staffing or things like that. So it's important to discuss those things, but in confidence, so that you can have a robust discussion. You can talk about what needs to be talked about, but it stays there at the board table and doesn't go further.
Confidentiality is a whole big issue with boards about certain things that are happening within the centre. You don't want outsiders in the sense to know about or hear about. So confidentiality in the board is very important.
If the roles become blurred, there's a danger of the relationships breaking down, professionally and personally.
I think it works really well where the president or the chairperson understands that they're the sort of person who guides and supports that manager day to day, so that they don't get in the way of other committee members at all, but they're the conduit, if you like, between both. So they're not best friends, and it's hard in small communities where everyone knows everyone, and it might be your sister-in-law, it could indeed be a family member much closer than that. But there's the professional line is very clearly understood that when I'm here as a president or a committee member, and when I'm here as a manager. And when it works well, it's where people are very clear about their roles. When it goes terribly wrong, it can be, it can lead to a lack of morale, where people just feel really deflated, where people are micromanaging and saying, oh, you need to talk to that volunteer, or you need to do this, rather than it being in the context of the committee meeting.
In this scenario, you have a board member who is keen to focus on some day-to-day tasks that they think the staff should be doing, and the board member has been speaking directly to the manager about this. How do you deal with this matter?